Hi, I'm Steven with K2 Scientific, where we're talking about moving the door from the K202, 204, and the 210. First thing you need to do is to get these plastic clips up from the unit. So you want to take a flathead screwdriver and sort of pry it underneath here and move it forward a little bit and then push up, and they'll pop up like that. You'll hear a pop and they pop out. There's two screws located underneath the top header piece, right underneath here. You're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and take these out. Once the screws are removed, you're going to pull this out, and that will pull the top piece free from the unit. And you can remove it by flipping it upwards position. Loosen these 4 bolts to have access to the top of the door. First, we're going to take the bottom grill off this refrigerator, and there's 2 screws located underneath here. We're going to start there. There's also 3 other screws located. There is a circular cutout you'll see underneath the unit that you have access to 3 Phillips screws underneath here. You can take a longer Phillips screwdriver to get access to that hole, and then you'll find your way right to it and then unscrew those. Underneath the spring cartridge right here that holds the tension to the door, there's a Phillips screw. We're gonna remove that. Also 4 bolts right there. We're gonna loosen those up so we can get this door free from the unit. Once those bolts are loosened, the door will be a little bit loose. You need to open the door. Once you open the door, this will spring loose. The next step is the spring cartridge that was located on the bottom of the door right here. We're going to loosen these 2 bolts and take this completely off. And then you can take it and pull it out and push that to the side for right now. Next step, you're going to rotate the door. And this was the top piece that was right here. We're going to take that off the same way as we did the other side. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the hardware that was basically the opposite of what you did before. Before this one was in there, we're going to use that on the other side. So this is a top piece, will go right here and screw that in with the Phillips screws provided. The next step is to put the spring cartridge back in the location of where the other cartridge was. In that process, you'll see there's going to be foam inside of here. You're going to take a flathead screwdriver and push down in here to push this foam down so there's enough room for the spring cartridge to fit inside the location. So once that's in there, you can sort of just push it down and it will slide in. And then you're going to take the other 2 Phillips screws and screw it back into place. The next step is to tighten these bolts on the old hardware right here. Next step, we went ahead and removed the bolts here. So this bracket was removed completely. So you can take your new door and put it on the table or wherever it's free. And we're going to use this far right location. So that gets put on right there. You're going to take the Phillips screw, put that into place and screw that down. And then you will move the door back into its place by inserting the top portion back into the hole up top and down below at the bottom. Once you get to the bottom, you're going to line up the holes and insert these 4 screws back into place. Once the doors are screwed into place, we're going to go ahead and put the header panel back on the unit. The next step would be to tighten these screws that we loosened up earlier. The next step, after you tighten your bolts here, is to put this panel back into place. You're going to slide it underneath the grooves from the top of the door and you might need to take your finger and make sure these wires are behind here and lift up, and so it'll slide on. The next thing is this door switch. You want to make sure you push that in with your finger because that will catch. And once you push it in a little bit, it slides on top of the door. And then the next step would be to just push them into place. Once it's in place, you're going to take your plastic pins that are right here, and they do come apart into two pieces. The first step is to take the bottom piece and make sure the hole's lined up and push them down. And take the second piece, it's basically just a little pin, and you're gonna push them into place and locks those in, just like that. Once that's in place, you can open the door, and there's gonna be 2 more screws underneath here to put back into place. Next step is to insert the bottom grill back into its place. You're gonna slide it between the spring cartridge and the hinges right here, and they get pushed right back into place. There's 1 screw on the bottom on each side, and there's also 3 screws that go up through the circle holes underneath here that we need to re-screw in. And this will be the completion of swapping the door hinges on your K202, 204, and 210.